Welcome to this CareNote video tutorial. In this video tutorial, I want to introduce you to a new feature that we've added to CareNote. It's called CareNote Volunteers. And this volunteer system was added to CareNote because as we launched CareNote last year, we began to hear from churches who loved what we were doing in CareNote, but they had volunteers that might only connect with their care ministry once a month, once a quarter, or maybe even only twice or once a year. And the idea that they had to pay a monthly subscription fee for that user felt a little out of reach. So, after talking to some churches and thinking about it, we decided, or I decided rather, to add a volunteer system into CareNote. And here's basically how it works. Every paid user in CareNote enables you to have access to 3 free volunteers that interact with CareNote via our email-based token system. So what I want to do in this video tutorial is I just want to walk you through what this looks like. So in a sort of typical setup, we need to basically have paid users that enable free volunteer users. You can create assignments. Your volunteers get a notification via email or an SMS, and then it still allows you to coordinate your care. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through a real world example where we have an individual, Sarah Johnson, who is now needing to take care of her ailing parent, and she needs some support with elder care. And let's say your church is ready to do that. So let's jump over. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this workflow. I'll move me down to the lower right here so that you can see it. There's about 8 steps that we walk you through from setting up your team to entering the care request to assigning it to a volunteer, for the volunteer to receive the notifications, for them to accept or reject that assignment, them to deliver their care, to document the care that they delivered, and then for that to be notified or for you to receive a report that that's done. So those are the 8 steps. And so what I want to do is just jump into CareNote and let's go ahead and set this up. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm operating as Doug Anderson here, but let's just go ahead and add a volunteer to your team. Let's call him Kevin Williams. I'm going to give him a email address that we can work with here. Actually, let's go and do this, mycarenoteapp.com. And then this is going to be a volunteer. So you just go ahead and create it. Behind the scenes, CareNote is going to email this volunteer that they've been invited to your team. The volunteer has to accept that invitation, and once they have done that, you can now start to assign tasks as well as care requests to them. If you want to check the status of your team, you can always click on Team, and CareNote will show you have X many pending invitations. You know that we just have this one because we just invited Kevin Williams to join our team. You can resend the invitation, you can archive it, and then you can eventually permanently delete it. And we do store it and keep it inside your CareNote so that you don't keep inviting the same person over and over again. All right, so let's go find the email that was sent to Kevin, and we'll bring it into this screen. I'll set it up here so that you can see it. And so Kevin gets an invitation. You've been invited to join SIO Westminster Church's care team that runs on CareNote. It explains what CareNote is so that the person doesn't assume this is just spam. So if they click join the care team, they are going to say, hey, it's going to say, hi, Kevin, you've been invited to join SIO Westminster Church. You were invited by Doug. All you need to do is click accept invitation. And if they're on mobile, it's actually going to change the invitation to say to accept it, scroll down. I don't know if you noticed that, but when we go here, it says click, but on mobile, it'll say scroll down so that they can see everything on the screen. So we adapt to the device that they're on. So I'm going to go ahead and click accept. It then gives Kevin, so I'm operating as Kevin in this case, a what to expect. You're going to get assignments. They're going to have a date, a description, and expected completion date. And then here's what you need to do, and here's some details. And if you need some help, reach out to your coordinator. All right, let's go back. You'll see if we click on team, Kevin has been added to our team, is active, and is a volunteer. And you receive an email notification. So this one right here says, hello, Kevin has accepted your invitation to join the team. So if you clicked into view team, it would take you here, and now you can do your assignments. So we've set up our account. We've added our volunteer, which is free. Your cost doesn't go up. You could add 2 additional ones here for no additional costs. Now let's go ahead and go back to Sarah. So Sarah reached out to us because she's caring for her elderly mom who just had a minor stroke. She's feeling overwhelmed by the responsibility, and she needs some support. So let's just capture that, and then we'll go over to CareNote, and we're going to create a care request for Sarah. Let's see. We'll see if Sarah is in our system. I don't know if Sarah is. She's not, so let's go ahead and add Sarah real quick. And here we go. So we'll add Sarah, and we'll just put her at an email address that we can use. All right, great. So we now have Sarah in our system, and we want to assign her to a care provider. And in this case, we want to assign her to Kevin. So we'll go ahead and paste in the notes that we have here. We'll select a condition. We don't have a type, so let's go ahead and add a new type for elder care. And you can see very quickly you can add a type and then select it without leaving this screen and having to go to a settings screen and then come back and break your workflow. Everything's right here on this screen. We have 2 options. We can assign this to a care provider or to a care group. Let's go ahead and assign this to a care provider. If we select that drop down, it then gives us a list. I'm operating as Doug Anderson here, but we want to assign her to Kevin Williams, who's our volunteer. So we're going to select Kevin. We're going to click Create, and that's it. So we've entered the care request. So we set up our team. We entered the care request. We've done the assignment. Kevin's getting the notification. So let's go ahead and show you that. And so here's the notification. Kevin, you've been invited by SIO Westminster Church to help with a care need in our community. The care receiver is Sarah. The date it's due is Saturday, February 1st, and here's the description. So I'm just going to go back. So now we're all the way through step 4, and Kevin now gets to decide at step 5 whether they're going to accept the care request or they're going to reject this request. So let's go ahead and accept it. And when we click on that, I'm just going to put me here in the center. You can see that Kevin is now able to see these details, who the person is, when it's due, what the description is, when it was assigned, and now they can accept the request. And when they click on accept, that's all they need to do here. In the background, you're going to receive an email address or email that Kevin accepted the request for Sarah. And, Kevin gets this assignment. This is to Kevin. You'll also get a notification. But Kevin has accepted this request for Sarah. Now you'll see that Kevin gets additional details, the email address, the phone number, the address, if that was there, and they will go off and deliver care. Let's go back to our workflow. So we've now done step 5, and we're on to step 6. So Kevin calls Sarah in the background, talks to her about elder care, listens to the needs that she has, and schedules another meeting with her or some additional follow-up. Now Kevin's ready to report back to you what happened with their care. So here, if we come back to Kevin's email and we click on Submit Care Delivery Report, Kevin's going to be taken to this screen where they can select when they delivered the care, how they did it. So this was a phone call, actually. So I called Sarah and chatted with her. So they might share some additional details, but they can also note additional follow-up that may be required. So let's show you what that looks like. Sarah would appreciate a pastoral, oops, let's get appreciate right. Appreciate a pastoral visit with communion for her mom. And when is that going to be due? Let's just make it due in the middle of February. And Kevin can say, assign it to me if I'm willing to do it. But if Kevin wants to ask that you assign it to someone else, they can select that as well. So this is the report for that care request. We'll hit submit. It's now logged in our system. If we go back to our workflow, we're now at step 7. And then Pastor Doug will receive a notification from CareNote that this request has been completed and the report is done, and that's the whole flow. And you can see that Kevin, who is a volunteer, didn't have to log into CareNote to do any of this, could do it all via their email. If they shared their mobile device with you and you enable SMS notification, they could have also received a notification via SMS that they had an assignment, and then they can follow up in the same way. So that's an overview of how the volunteer system works in CareNote. Now, one of the things that Kevin did is Kevin put in a new request. So I just refreshed the page, and I want to show you the closed. This is the one that we worked on. This is the report that Kevin put in for it. So we have all those details right there. But if we go back out, you can see that the request, the follow-up request that Kevin put in, is now in the system as well. It's in an entered state, it has a due date, and when we look at it, we can see it has the description that Kevin gave us. Sarah would appreciate a pastoral visit with communion for her mom. So let's say you have a communion team. Now you can assign that to someone on your team, or you can assign it to a group like your communion group as well. So that's our workflow for volunteers, and every CareNote account has access to this now. Like I said, you get 3 free volunteers for every paid user, and this works great. If you are a single pastor, but you have a group of volunteer folks who are willing to deliver a meal, they're willing to write a card, they're willing to do a visit, but you don't want to pay for them to have access to your CareNote, you just want them to have access to assignments. CareNote is the only pastoral care tool that can allow you to do that. Hey, thanks so much for watching this CareNote video tutorial.